Preparing to live stream. There you go. Setting up your meeting for YouTube Live. Be starting shortly. Preparing to live stream. Okay, we're live. Go ahead, Gary.
Okay, so we're excited to have Steve Taggart with us tonight to discuss exploiting web security vulnerabilities and the tryhackme.com site. So I'm sure he'll go over this in just a minute, but as Steve's introducing the talk tonight, if you don't have an account on tryhackme.com, now would be a good time to pop over there and create your account. And with that, I'm going to stop sharing my screen and turn time over to Steve.
Okay, great. Thanks, Gary. Start sharing my screen.
Before you get too far, Steve, you might want to make me a co-host.
Oh, good call. All right. Gary should be a co-host now. We don't need to see this YouTube stuff. Okay. So this is going to be interactive. You can work along, follow along, and we're going to go through OWASP vulnerabilities. So right now, for those that are following along, so this is I signed up just barely. So this is an account that should be similar to yours. And if you actually pay for the service, you get more resources and things are faster. But there's a couple buttons or a couple things to click when you first create your account. And then click on the learn and then the search. And we're going to search for OWASP. And the one that we're going to join, so they call these rooms, we are going to join this OWASP Juice Shop room. And Juice Shop is an app that was created, has a lot of vulnerabilities to help you learn about vulnerabilities. So some of those vulnerabilities, we can check that out a little bit. The OWASP top 10 goes through vulnerabilities. There's a lot of information on the OWASP page, and I'm not going to go over this too much because the main point is to get hacking. So hopefully, does anyone need a minute more to get into the Juice Shop room?
Yeah, let's give it one more minute and maybe go through those instructions one more time for anybody who's just joined us or joined us late. So yeah, the site and which part of the site we're trying to get to.
Right. So if you just joined tonight, you can follow along and do some hacking in your web browser. And that's what we're going to be doing tonight. You can, so go to tryhackme.com. You can create a free account and then click on learn and search for OWASP and click on the OWASP Juice Shop. And then you should be able to see a button that says join room. So join the room. Then once you're in the room, click start attack box. This is the in-browser machine that we're going to use to do the hacking. And it takes a little while to start up. So the other thing to do is under task 1, open for business, click start machine. What this starts up is the machine that we're going to hack into that's running the OWASP Juice Shop application. So some of the things that we're going to cover in this room: injection, like SQL injection, broken authentication. Yeah. And the way it's going to work is we'll have over here, once this attack machine starts up, we'll be able to access a browser, and we will use the browser to browse to the IP address of the machine that we're going to attack, which will show up here eventually. And for free accounts, I've found that actually browsing to that website can take a little while. And I think that's because the attack box doesn't have internet access. And so it takes a while for things to time out and then eventually try to load the page. So anyone have questions right now? Hopefully everyone's starting their attack boxes and the machine that's in the room. You need to just wait here a little bit. So I guess another thing I can talk about, if no one has questions, an application that we're going to use to help us do the hacking is called Burp Suite. And it's a free version that's on our attack box. Okay. So my attack box is up. I'll give other people's a little bit of time to come up. But once it's up, close this terminal, open Firefox. And when Firefox opens, it's going to try to go to some web page. Probably just stop that since this doesn't have internet access. And okay. One of the things, it can be kind of tricky to use this in browser machine, but the other thing we'll want to do, well, so in your browser, there's this little icon. It's this Foxy Proxy extension. You want to click that, and right now it's on turn off, and that's red. You want to click on Burp, which is, kind of the slang or the short name for the Burp Suite. And what this is going to do is it's going to proxy all of our requests in this browser through Burp Suite. So now would be a good time to open up Burp Suite. It's this this icon with the looks kind of like a face on the side. If you don't see these icons on the side, you might just have to move your window around and like bring your mouse over to the edge. Okay. And if we get to a point where someone's like, okay, hold on just a sec, please let me know. So Burp Suite Community Edition, when it starts up, we just click on or just do next for temporary project and start Burp using the Burp defaults. This takes not too long. Gives you this message, it's out of date. Okay, don't show that again. It's going to work. So in Burp Suite, you can see this proxy tab. We want to go there, and we can see that this intercept is on button. For right now, click on intercept is off, and that's going to allow any requests from our browser to just go through. So I'm going to try to get back to my browser. That's one of the tricky things Where did it go? One of the tricky things about this in-browser desktop is getting through the windows, maneuvering your windows around. Okay, so in our browser, we're going to use the IP address of the machine that we started in the room. And actually what I'll do, I'll talk about how copying and pasting works, because it can work. It's not, it takes a little bit. So you can copy something to your clipboard, like the IP address of the machine you're going to attack. And then over here, you expand this thing and click on the clipboard. And then it says comment this item. That's not what I expected. Okay, you can paste from your operating system, paste that into the clipboard. So now that means this is in the clipboard for our in-browser machine, our attack box. So you can do HTTP : not HTTPS // and then you can right click and say paste and go. That didn't work. Okay. Let's try pasting. Okay, pasting, the IP address did work. And yeah, we want to go to this HTTP. Now, what I've found is on the free attack box, you can see down here, it's trying to connect to Cloudflare, and that isn't going to work because this box isn't connected to the internet. But eventually, the website will come up. And while that's coming up, hopefully people have that starting up on their attack boxes. Anyone a little behind or have a question? Can people still hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great, thank you. Okay, so let's see. So over here on the left, if you've started your machine in this room, you can click completed. And for that first one. And the second one is us trying to get to that machine through the browser. And that's going to come up eventually. You can click completed on that. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to start going over what we're going to do once the browser's up. So there's this is what the website looks like. You can buy juice, other products. And before we actually do some hacking, we're going to look around, look at the website, find out what we can see. And we're going to use that to answer some of these first questions. I wish I knew a faster way to get this to load. I tried a bunch of things. I do pay for a premium account on TryHackMe, but I thought it wouldn't be as great if I was using that and my stuff was going fast and yours wasn't. So it'll get here soon. Question 1, what is the administrator's email address? When the page comes up, if we look at the apple juice product, and then we'll expand a little thing for reviews, you can see what the admin's email address is.
Hey, Steve, in the Burp suite, do you have intercept turned on right now?
No, off.
Okay, yeah. I had nothing in the web page. I finally turned it off and everything came up really quickly. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Interesting.
you're the same as mine.
So it came up quickly for you. Dang. Maybe. Well, what did I do? That's not. Yeah, intercept is off. Wow. This is. So one thing I did earlier was try clicking on web developer. Oh, maybe. Yeah, this is what I did. I think clicked on work offline and it loaded some stuff, and then uncheck that and refresh the page. Maybe. Is this happening to anyone else, or is it just me?
Yeah, mine's not loading either.
Okay. I swear it loads eventually.
And
So what we're going to do, I'll keep talking about some of these things. And so the first few things that you answer are about looking around and maybe doing some Googling, which is cool. But the next thing that's more fun is about doing some SQL injection. And SQL injection, as you can see here, it's when an attacker injects some SQL, and in some cases they can use that to log into accounts or change data in a database. And that's not good. Now, my understanding with the OWASP stuff was injection used to be in 2017, it was the top thing, the category, the highest category. Now in 2021, it's moved down to third, and also includes the cross-site scripting has gone into injection, which this room should do some of. Okay, what is going on? Oh, let's go back to the work offline. Work offline. Let's go back to work online. Oh, the other thing I did was I went to web developer toggle tools, and I could see some of the requests that were taking forever. Like all these requests to Cloudflare. Those aren't going to work. jQuery. Well, this is going to be, so how many people are at this point? How many people are stuck like me? Let's see the chat. Okay, George just took it. Okay. All right, a few people. Took a long time. Okay. And I noticed a question from Gopi. The session is recorded. And thanks for putting the URL in the chat, Gary. Okay, everyone's loading. So mine's going to load eventually. All right. So once it loads, you can log into the administrator account using some SQL injection. And what you'll have to do, you'll need to have in Firefox, you'll have to have Foxy proxy going through Burp. And you'll want intercept on, which I'm not going to do yet because mine hasn't loaded. And then there's a login page. And when you click the login button, it will, it should stop in Burp Suite. The other thing that I've seen in Burp Suite is if you've got intercept on and you'll see it maybe stopped on something, you want to look at what it's stopped on. If it's like Mozilla or something like that, you can just drop that. But don't drop any of them that are going to like the machine that you're attacking. We're going to modify before we actually let this thing go to the server. We're going to modify it in Burp Suite, and that's how we're going to do the SQL injection. Okay, I'm seeing these Cloudflare things time out. It's gotta be soon. It's gotta be soon. I wish I knew how to make this faster, but I'm glad that most people are there. So feel free to start doing this stuff here, trying to look at it. When you see in Burp Suite, when you see a request that looks like this, and you're under proxy and intercept, what you want to do is the email, whatever you have in the email field, you change it to single quote space or 1 = 1 dash. And what this does, it closes off the query, the single quote closes the query and says, or 1 = 1, which is always going to be true. And then it comments out whatever comes after that. And it basically logs us in to user ID 0, which happens to be the administrator account. Whatever the query is, isn't handling something like this, and it just gets us in. It's also, so one thing you need to be doing in your web applications is using parameterized queries. When you use parameterized queries, you don't get problems like this. The other thing to do is sanitize the input. So have people been able to log in to the administrator account? Let's find out where you're at. Okay, maybe still working on it. Okay. I think mine finally loaded. Oh, you know what? I could have been it could have been loaded when I did that work on line stuff, but I just didn't. I wasn't looking how I was expecting it to look. Anyway, I'm going to load Burp Suite up again because I closed it. Maybe that helps load it. Temporary project, use Burp defaults. And right now, if we go to proxy, intercept is on. It's trying this socket IO stuff. Right now, I'm going to turn intercept off and then go to the login page, which I think is no, not there. I think it's there. Okay. So actually, one thing you can do, and I think I need to do this, is this little thing down here, view in full screen. Wait. Yeah, I think that's it. That is going to show my attack box in full screen so I can see things better. So I don't have this incredibly tiny browser where it's not rendering things. Okay. So you get to the login page. You can just put A and A, and before logging in, I'm going to go to Burp Suite, turn intercept on, and see I got some telemetry Mozilla stuff. Ignore that for now. I'll press login. It's going to be paused and waiting. This Mozilla, I'll just drop. Next Mozilla, drop. Mozilla, drop, 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 drop. This is way more than I got earlier. Okay. This one is to socket IO. Sure, we'll forward that one. This one, okay. It's saying get rest user, who am I? We'll forward that one. Okay, here's the request where we're going to enter the SQL injection. So you change the email to single quote space or 1 = 1 dash dash. And then you click forward. And okay, it's got another request to who am I? Actually, I think you can turn intercept off at this point and check it out. Logged in. I am the admin. So one thing that it didn't do is it didn't show me a little like a little green pop-up with some text that we use to answer one of these questions. Okay. I don't need to be in split view on this tab. So once you get in and you should see a green banner in here that gives you a long string of text. I haven't seen it yet. One of the things you can do, I don't need Burp on anymore. And I don't know why mine is so slow, but okay, nice. This is a case of, the presentation works when you try it the 2-3 times before. When it comes to the presentation, it doesn't work so well. Okay, I'm going to try the web developer work offline trick. Okay, there we go. That got me there. Beautiful. I wonder if I can actually keep that work offline. it might work. Maybe. We'll see. So right now I am the admin. I'm going to make this bigger. Okay. No, the working offline isn't quite working because some of the things are not showing up. There's one of these things is log out somewhere. Let's find the log out. Oh, is this one the log out? I'm gonna try that. Okay, not working great. Well, guess what it's time to do? It's time to use my premium account so you can actually see this stuff happen. And I guess suffer through it later or sign up for sign up for a premium account. Okay. Now this should go a lot better. I'm gonna start. I'm gonna make sure I close this tab. Or not. I can't. Got this thing here. Can't see the actual button. There we go. Close. Okay, and this machine, this is my free account thing. Where is it? There should be a way to shut this thing off. I don't need that one. Okay. Start attack box. I'm going to have to highly edit the video that gets posted to YouTube or before it gets posted. Okay. So I'm curious if other people have been able to make more progress than me with my free account. You can let me know in the chat or say something, yes or no. I guess what you get from this presentation that you maybe wouldn't get if you did this on your own is I've done this a bunch and use this platform a bunch, so I can give little tips. And when you have a free account, you only have a limited amount of time with your attack box. So being able to do things quickly is valuable. Okay, this is an example of what the banner looks like when you complete one of the things. You get this big long string of text, and that's what you put in one of the answers. So I guess I can say a little bit more about the Juice Shop web app. It is available on GitHub. You can download the source and run it locally on your own machine, and maybe that's what I should have had us do. But when I tried this earlier, it worked better. There's also a Docker image, and I've tried using that. It didn't seem to work super well. It seemed really slow. So, okay. We've got my new attack box up. My new machine to attack is up. I'm going to paste and go. And it loads so fast. I get this cookie banner. Got this Firefox thing down here. Okay. Now, oh, that's not what I wanted. The login. Okay. When we come to the login page, put a, make sure Foxy Proxy is set to use Burp. Let's put this thing over here. And make sure that Burp Suite is running. And intercept is on. So one of the things that really excited me when I found out about this website is you get to do actual hacking. You know, I don't know if anyone else has to go through like a yearly security training, but it's usually watching some videos and Postman. I did not intend to open Postman. Whoops. Okay, and terminal. Great. That yearly security training is way more boring than this, if you ask me. All right. Where are we? Intercept is on. Got the juice shop. Foxy Proxy is using Burp. Let's log in. And then get a little indicator over here. Okay. This one to our website. Who am I? Forward. Okay. Here's the one where we're going to inject. Change that to single quote space, or 1 = 1 dash. And then we forward that. And I think we turn intercept off for the moment. And then we come to our browser. And there we go. This login admin, we successfully solved a challenge. So I'm going to copy that to my clipboard and then come to this clipboard and it's on there. And then I use my operating system clipboard. I just did, I'm on a Mac, Command C or Control C if you're on a, not a Mac. And that should, okay, yeah, we skipped that stuff. We're in the inject part. Here we go. Ta-da! Okay, so this is what you want to see. Now, as I was saying, this juice shop, it's available on GitHub. It's available in Docker. The interesting thing about this, using it from TryHackMe, is that it seems to be configured just a little bit differently, like showing these things seems a little bit different than if you just run it on your own. Now, the other thing that we're not going to do today is, well, I did mention some ways that you can improve your code, but we're not going to actually do any improving of your code. But the actual Juice Shop app has some challenges within it where you can modify some of the code like from within this browser and to try to fix the problem, which is pretty cool. Okay, so for Bender, I'll quickly go through logging it in as Bender. We first log out, then go to the login page. You can just put A, go back to Burp Suite, turn intercept on, log in, and we got stopped in Burp Suite. We can forward this one, forward that one. Okay. So what's different about this one is we enter a valid email address, which we got earlier by looking around, which we didn't actually do, but so we enter the valid email address and then single quote dash dash. And what that does, the single quote closes off the SQL statement and the dash dash makes things after it comment. And we didn't have to put the 1 = 1 because the email address is valid. So then we go to forward and I can forward this one too. Actually, just turn intercept off. And we've logged in as Bender. So let's get that little flag. So in hacking, web security, these things, they call them flags. And there are events or activities called capture the flag, where your goal is to find certain flags and you use, use penetration testing techniques, hacking techniques to find those flags. Okay, brute force the administrator account's password. Now, when I tried this one earlier on my free account, it took forever and didn't really work. But we can at least start it on my account and see how far it gets. I think it might be a lot faster. So so I'm entering the admin email address, which we would have gotten earlier by browsing around the site. Turn intercept back on and log in. Come back to Burp. This first one we can forward. Okay, we get here. Now what we're going to do is brute force the password and actually figure out what the password is. So you can right click in here and say send to intruder, which is this other part of this Burp Suite application. So we send it to intruder, and then we see that the intruder here is orange. We've got some tabs here. Attack target, we don't have to change anything there. Positions, okay, we do have to change some stuff here. So we're going to configure the positions where the payloads are inserted. What you want to do first is clear. So they're all gone. And then delete the password and click on add twice. So you have 2 of these symbols, which I guess is Burp Suite's kind of quote-like thing. And then you go to payloads, and we're going to use a file that's on the machine on these attack boxes, which is one of the awesome things about them. In user share word lists. So, gosh. Okay, come on. There we go. Wow. Okay, word lists, sec lists, passwords, and common credentials, and best 1050. Use that. Now it's going to go through and try all these passwords. And you get this message saying, hey, this is a community edition. It's not going to go as fast as it could. And it's going to go through. It's trying all these passwords. This is the status that it's getting. 401 is, unauthorized or forbidden. If we sort by status, we should eventually see 200 come up. And that will let us know that's the password. So while that's going, we'll let that keep going for a little bit. So another thing you can do is you can reset Jim's password. I probably won't do this because I want to let this go and brute force the password. But you, from browsing around the site, you can find, a James T. Kirk, Jim email address, and you can try to go to the reset password page and exploit some weaknesses in there. Gives you a security question and your eldest sibling's middle name. Well, you can just do a Google search and figure out what their eldest sibling's middle name is. And turns out it's Samuel. You can use that to then change your own password. Once you do and log in, you'll get a flag. Okay, let's see. This one, okay. Is this the one? I think we're gonna skip this section. Who's flying this thing? Yeah. So this section is working on broken access control. We can either get more privileges from another person that has similar or same level of permissions, or you can, and that's horizontal privilege escalation, or you can get vertical privilege escalation is someone that has more permissions than you. Example, malicious user finds out how to log in as an application user or admin. So the admin page, yeah, this isn't going as fast as I hoped. Has anyone figured out what the password is and wants to share it with us? Am I talking to the void, or do we still have people here? Ah, George M got it. There it is. Admin123. Thanks, George M. I need to remember to check the chat. Okay. So this thing, I'm going to exit out of it and turn Burp off. We can log in as admin123. Hey, and we get this flag. Let's take that flag, put it in the box over here, because that's pretty satisfying to get it to go green. Submit. Yes, that is it. Okay. So back to the who's flying this thing. We're going to access the administration page. How are we going to find that page? Well, you can use your web developer tools and toggle tools. Got all this stuff down here. There is, okay, I think, where's it? Storage. No. Debugger. Okay. Yeah, so in the debugger here, you can see these different files. And this is clearly very tiny. There's some sort of there's a pretty print option. That is, wanted to resize. By the way, resizing windows in this Linux machine, which is, it's called Kali Linux, and it's based on, I think it's based on an Ubuntu distribution. Resizing the windows on this thing, you have to be so precise that it's ridiculous. Okay, here's the pretty print thing. And then we can search admin and we find this path administration. So what happens? Just go to administration. Ooh, it worked. So we got to this path that we didn't know about or wasn't exposed to us through the UI, but it was exposed to us through our source code. So let's take that flag. Got it right. Nice. Viewing another user's shopping basket. Let's do this. This seems fun. And Gary, what time was the presentation supposed to be over? 6:45? 6:30? Never, I guess. We're gonna do this all night, folks.
I couldn't find my mute button. You probably got time to do one more attack.
Okay. All right. Well, actually, so let's not do this one. It's kind of cool, but the one, where is it in here? Maybe it's in this don't look section. There's one thing that I learned about. I think this is maybe it. No. There's the poison. Here it is. Poison null byte. I thought this was pretty cool. So go. Turns out we can just see the FTP files there. And let's say we want to get this file. Click on it. Oh no, only MD and PDF files are allowed. Okay. Well, there's something we can do to help us get around that. So we put %25. Oh, actually I put it in the wrong spot. Ding, ding, ding. Put it at the end. %2500.md. And this %2500 is the null poison byte. And then it the app is written in a way that it thinks this is a valid .md file, and bam, we just got that file. So let's see if we can get that flag. What did is it in here somewhere? Let's see. Okay, maybe it's in a different file. Anyway, that's the poison null byte trick. And you can use it to access files. If your logic is only looking for things to end in .md, you can have a problem. Yeah. So we've gone through a couple different things. We've used Burp Suite to intercept calls and change them. We're able to log in with injection, SQL injection. We've also done this poison null byte. And what was the other thing we did? Right. We looked at the source code and found this administration page. So that's all the time we have for this presentation, but there's a lot more you can do in this specific room on Try Hack Me. You can also try going to GitHub and getting the Juice Shop app. One of the things that I mentioned before was that when you get this version, it gives you a chance to try to fix the problems. And yeah, there's this scoreboard that was there for a second. Oh, that's one thing that the last thing we can do is show this exploration. There's this scoreboard. Words aren't coming out right. Scoreboard page. And here it's got the different flags that we've successfully completed. And it's got some status. So you can click on this and it has these different things, different kind of things that you can solve. Lots of different stuff. There's so much here. And so in addition to the OWASP Juice Shop, this site has lots of free other rooms where you can learn other hacking techniques and then, better understand how you can protect your apps. Yeah. So yeah, someone was asking about the paid account cost, and Gary said it's $10 a month or $7.50 a month if you pay for 12 months, which I believe is around $90. And for 1 year, $90, if you ask me, that is just ridiculously cheap. Very good deal. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And do we have questions?
While people are thinking of questions, this is probably a good point in time to say, as you learn these techniques, and they seem really fun, it's probably important to not just go randomly testing any site out there, especially with some of these automated tools. And maybe even more important, to not be doing it to production sites at your own employer. If you want to try these things out on an actual production site, and particularly with your own employer, make sure you contact the people responsible for your website security and make sure you've got permission. I know personally,
Yes.
from experience, in the early 2000s, after attending a web security course, myself and at least one other person at the where I was working, we did find a number of security flaws in the sites that we were testing, but we were also rather aggressively confronted by the person responsible for security for our site. It wasn't too long before they figured out who was doing it. So we learned pretty quickly to ask permission first. But does anybody have any questions for Steve?
Looks like Mark has their hand raised. Mark, do you have a question?
Yeah, that may have been up for quite some time. I think that might have been a hey, I was getting in initially here.
Okay.
But Mark, if you do have a question, feel free to unmute and ask
No
your
question. Okay, it says in the chat, no question. Okay. Anyone else? Questions?
I don't have a question, but I have a comment.
Okay.
I was unaware of this site, but there's another site for portswigger.net.
Yeah.
I'll just put it in the chat here. It's very similar to this in that you pass off things and it helps you learn and it goes. It's actually, I think, sponsored by the same product that you were using.
Yeah, Burp
that.
Suite. Yeah, it's the people that make Burp Suite.
So they actually have an academy and you can work in there. You can pass stuff off. You can in the same way you get flags or you pass off labs, and you can see how well other people are doing, and you can match your skills against others. And it's pretty fun to get in and play, and you can run your own burp on your own environment against these machines and do whatever you want to break them. And I've played with that a ton.
Nice.
And so I was very successful in being able to solve all but one of the SQL injections with the free version of Burp. The only one that I couldn't had to do with like a double blind web where you actually had to go in and it had to call you back and then do stuff.
Yeah. Great. Hey, thanks for sharing that. That is very good to know. I haven't gone through their tutorials.
And it's all free.
Awesome.
And so, yeah, I did a demo on that years ago, a couple of years ago, and was able to go through a ton of stuff similar to what you did, only it was different sites and, SQL injection, cross-site scripting, all kinds of different things.
Great. Hey, thanks for that information. Anyone else have a question or comment? I'm going to end this stream.